What is the money story you keep telling, and how does Neville say to change it? This is where awareness begins, because most people don't realize that every complaint, every anxious thought, and every reaction to money is a story told over and over until it becomes a law in their lives. This is how the unseen pattern works, silently looping through your imagination until the outer world bows to it as truth. This is where Neville's insight becomes revolutionary, showing that money itself has no power. It only mirrors the state you habitually occupy. This is how it unfolds. For when you assume that money is scarce, the universe merely confirms your conviction. This is the turning point, when you begin to understand that every financial limitation is rooted not in lack, but in belief. This is where truth pierces illusion, revealing that imagination, not effort, is the true currency of wealth. This is how you begin to change the story, by assuming the feeling of already being provided for and refusing to waver from that inner knowing. This is where the transformation begins, not by fixing your bank account, but by rewriting the emotional script that created it. This is how it deepens, when you learn to stop reacting to appearances and start living from the state you desire. This is where the idea of living in the end becomes more than philosophy. It becomes the daily practice of certainty. This is how new opportunities appear, not as luck, but as reflections of your new state of consciousness. This is where your imagination becomes the director, and life becomes the screen upon which your assumptions play. This is how resistance dissolves, because you no longer question how or when, but simply rest in the knowing that it is done. This is where gratitude amplifies, because you see that the end already exists within you. This is how alignment stabilizes, when your feelings and assumptions move in unison toward wealth fulfilled. This is where the old money story fades, no longer sustained by repetition or emotion. This is how Neville's law proves itself, as your inner conviction crystallizes into outer fact. This is where it all shifts, because now the story you tell is not one of lack, but of completion. This is how your world responds, by giving back everything you've assumed as true, effortlessly, precisely, and beautifully. Now consider this. Every transformation begins not with action, but with awareness. And awareness is what frees you from the invisible story that once dictated your life. This is where a new identity takes root, as you realize that wealth is not a destination, but a vibration that you can enter now. This is how the law of assumption becomes alive within you, teaching that every scene you imagine, every inner dialogue you rehearse, becomes a seed in the garden of your experience. This is where you see the pattern clearly.